Alright, hello, I am back with a very quick video that I don't really have time to do, so this has to be quick. CRM 114. Yeah, we're back to this. I've mentioned it in several of my videos. And 88, let me go down a little bit. 88, Finis Temporis, did a nice little compilation video. I dropped some comments under that video. I'll link it in the description. Definitely worth watching. Very good little video. Just clips of referencing where it shows up in, in the films and TV shows, etc., etc. Right now, what does this mean? This is the problem, right? This is obviously something significant about this, especially with all the significance surrounding Stanley Kubrick. The fact that it shows up very obviously in Back to the Future, that is hugely significant as well. There has to be a significance to this, and the reason why I'm really doing this video is because there's various comments down in here, but I've spotted one that's by Matt from Quantum Conscience, and Matt says there's no need to spend much effort trying to figure CMR 114 out. Okay, and you can read his comment, but to an extent I agree, and to an extent I don't agree with what he's saying here. He goes on to mention that simply throwing numbers and letters into some online gematria calculator in most instances isn't going to be good enough. No, it's not going to be good enough, but you've got to start somewhere, and actually there's always some truth to everything, and dismissing it like that I think's a little unfair. I think it deserves a little bit more investigation than just throwing that idea out, out the door with the rest of the slop. Where do I want to go with this? Because there's several little directions that we can take. Now, I would invite you to go and read the comments under that video of 88FT. I'm abbreviating now, which in itself is interesting because 88FT, 88 feet, 88 steps, 88 steps of enlightenment. I don't know. 88 steps. Interesting. Anyway. But anyway, sorry, yeah, I'm digressing already. I don't want this to get too waffly. I've got several comments that are under other people's comments as well in here. So all this information that I'm going to go through now basically is in here somewhere. I've posted most of it, I think. Now, what do I want to say? Where do I want to go with this? So I've done one of my usual little diagrams here. My handwriting in real life does not look like this, by the way. I'm writing on a mouse pad with my finger, and it's incredibly difficult because I think the mouse pad is kind of, where it's so old, is kind of damaged as well in the middle. Like it wants to kind of fly all over the place whenever I do whenever I try to write. So I apologize for what looks like scribble, but hopefully you get the point. So the first thing is to look at CMR phonetically. Before I talk about the going to gematria and what that number actually means in gematria, let's just look at CMR phonetically. So the obvious thing that sticks out to me is cream, because I'm dealing with milking cows, and I'm dealing with cream on a regular basis, and cream is one of those things that obviously sticks out to me, kind of phonetically. Cream. We've still got this in the middle, but cream is the one thing that sticks out to me. Now, better phonetically speaking is crumb. 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 So you can definitely get crumb very simply, and as Matt would like to say, with the piston breadcrumbs. I mean, could this literally be saying that this is a clue? This is a trail back to the truth. I don't know. Literally does say crumb. So I mean, it literally is a breadcrumb, if you like. Well, not a breadcrumb, but a crumb of some description, some kind of trail leading somewhere. I don't know. Very interesting again. Another thing you can get out of this is Mr. C. And when I'm thinking Mr. C, I'm thinking the crescent moon and that little guy there that's in the moon, Mr. C, the man in the moon. What else can we get from this? One thing I, originally thought of quite a while back was Merc coming out of there. Mercury, and the merchant system. The thing that we're all stuck in. We're all stuck in the merchant system. We're all traders, trading away our time with one another. And unfortunately, because that system is not, because we don't trade time equally, of course, we're all discriminated against. The CRM discriminator, okay? 114 discriminator. We are all discriminated against in that system. We are not treated fairly. Our time is not traded equally. Ergo, the whole system is unfair. And that's what we're in, the merchant system. There was another guy that had mentioned mercy. I hadn't thought about that before, but the idea of taking mercy and giving mercy, and there is something to that as well. Because forgiveness is mercy, and there is going to be a point in time when we have to atone for our sins, and I'm going to leave it at that. You can put two and two together with the idea of mercy and atoning for our sins, okay? Now, there was a couple other comments that were mentioning the CRM as code for the I can't remember what it was in the Air Force, but it was something like something management anyway, and it was to do with taking, the idea of humans making errors and accounting for that as well. So human error, and human error being our downfall, which is essentially the whole system is human error, and that will be our downfall. But anyway, there was an acronym type thing for that as well in, is that the right word? In the Air Force. And of course the Air Force being very interesting that this is all mentioned, because the RAF insignia, or whatever you call that thing, the bullseye. Again, back to the bloody bullseye. The Who also use that as their little logo, the band, the Who. So we're back to the Hoover again, the bullseye, shooting that dart through the bullseye. And in fact, the bullseye itself, the Vesica Pisces, the 0, that is, one side is one thing, one side's the other thing. One side's physical nature, and one side is fictional, is the idea, the spiritual. And if you turn that thing sideways and look at it, you get the 1, if you look at it from a slight angle, you get the Vesica Pisces, but this is the 1. When you become, I don't know if you become the Vesica Pisces, if you become the porthole that can see both sides and actually balance both sides of reality, then you are balanced, the number 10. Anyway, I'm digressing. I'll try not to digress too much more. Somebody else had mentioned the 666 in there, and I thought I'd drop a comment, because if you minus 411, and actually I don't want to go down because you see the bottom of that, and we'll get to that in a minute. But if you take 411 from 666, we get 255, and immediately on seeing 255, I know exactly what date that leads to from another certain date. But before I get onto that, if we do the opposite of that, we get 552. Okay, this is significant, and I'll go into this in the next video with a couple of other little references to this. But the 25 and that quarter code that's in the dollar bill, this quarter all the time, yeah. And the CRM, the 114 itself is 125, if you like. 1 and a quarter is 125. So we're starting to get thrown around some ideas that kind of connect reasonably without too much fudging. This idea of a quarter here, the 25, which shows up in the dollar bill. Now, and of course you've got 5 times 25, or 1 and a quarter, again with this number, and again going back to the quarter code that's in the dollar bill, that shows up. Okay, I don't want to get too distracted away from things too much, but if we go 255 days on from a certain date, and that date would be November the 5th, and why do we pick November the 5th? Because in the dollar bill, again, is another code, which is this 155 or 551. This number here is in the dollar bill. It's between the two bunny ears, underneath the pie, okay? And we get from that, if we minus that from 666, we get 115 or 115, which is, of course, the day after this date, 114. So we have Adam and Eve again, the Eve and the day of the thing, the day of resurrection. So Adam and Eve, and November the 5th, if we pick this number, which is super significant, just, I mean, where this thing shows up, Guy Fawkes, the fork, the thing going up the side of the Twin Towers, the fork, the devil's pitchfork going up the side of the Twin Tower. November the 5th, V for Vendetta, I mean, it's just everywhere, November the 5th. So if we're here with November the 5th, and there's also another day that cross-references back with this 115, which is another date that will be coming up in a minute, this May the 10th, again a day before May the 11th, 115, and also to do with May Day 51, the 1st of May. Okay, and May Day, the ship's going down code, you know what I'm saying? So all this stuff all relates back to one another, but this code that's in the dollar bill gets us back to November the 5th, and there's a 100-day marker in there as well that takes us to 213, which is in other videos. Not going to go into it now, but there is a super significance to that number. And then if we go from that date and we go another 155 days, which is all encoded in the dollar bill, we've got our 255-day jump, which if we go from November the 5th, 255 days, we are at the 18th of July, the 187 date, yeah? So these jumps, I don't know if they're coincidental or not. It's high coincidence, isn't it? That these things kind of fit together in this way. But if we go that date, if we go to the date, so 187, of course, the cop code, the legal code, or whatever code you want to call it, for murder, death, kill, okay, a homicide. And of course, if we take the MK, yeah, the M kill, the milk, yeah, rearrange these, this is milk. What rises? Jesus rises, is resurrected. Man has to be resurrected from the matrix. Neo has to come out of the matrix. So what rises from the top of the milk? The cream. Okay, the CRM, the cream rises to the top. Okay, I don't know if this is I mean, if you're reading it the same way as me, it seems like it's a very sophisticated way of encoding the idea of resurrection here. I don't know, Murder, Death, Kill Day, Red Rum, Kubrick again with emphasizing murder in reverse, Red Rum. I don't know, I know all this stuff fits together, but how it fits together and in terms of when certain events are going to actually happen is difficult to predict, because you can go around in circles with all these dates. What date's this? What date? 254. The day before 255 is 9/11. Yeah, the 254th day of the year. Okay, the day before. We're back to Adam and Eve ideas here again. They like the day. I say they like the day. They like the day before and the day of. Christmas Eve and Christmas. Okay. So, the day before is Shrove Tuesday. The day after is Lent, using up all of those goodies and then going into a time of, it's not a fasting. Is it really fasting? What the fasting is removing yourself from the matrix. You're fasting from what the matrix is giving you. It's perfectly fine to receive from nature during that time. Yeah, you have to receive from nature still. You want to stay alive, but during that time of Lent, you are not indulging in the gifts of the matrix. Yeah, and that's again, what do the Twin Towers do? They pancake down. Yeah, pancake down. Shrove Tuesday, pancake day. I mean, again, you can just go around and around and around in circles with all these references. I mean, if you want to go to the gematria, okay, you've got 3, 18, and 13. I think I'm doing that the right way around. Yeah? 3, 18, okay, for these letters, and 13, okay? Just so happens that those numbers are a mirror. 8's in the middle, the number of man again, one of the numbers of man, okay, with a 33 on each side and with an 11. It's a really nice little mirror image thing going on here, with numbers that are significant. Now, what's interesting about 318 is if you go to the 318th day of the year, it is 1, 1, 1, 4. And I don't have my chart of Lorraine up at the minute. I'm going to do a separate video on that for people so I can explain it better. But this is the number that balances with this number. It's the opposite of this number. Here, hang on. 1155. Okay? Do we see some? Are we seeing the references here? And the 114 in here again? Yeah? So, and the 55 and the 114, this is to do with 47 here. And again, it's all to, this is in the column which is the 14 and the 55 and the 11 are in the column which is to do with the spiritual side of reality. Yeah? This is, we're talking about balancing this thing. We're talking about being able to balance things. And the thing that people have got to realize is what natural law is. Yeah? Because the physical shows us what the fictional is. Yeah? We can interpret from the physical all of our laws. This is where the 10 Commandments come from. Yeah, they're set in stone. The stone is the atom. Yeah, the atom, the stone, the physical man. Oh, around and around in circles trying to explain this, but once you get it, it's pretty simple. And you can, you can pretty much guarantee that the people in charge of the world know this. And I'll kind of paraphrase what I said to Matt in one of my response comments to his comment, is that the people that are running the world know all this. They understand that because we are semi in nature, there is a physical environment, and in that physical environment, you can look at balancing numbers in that environment. 5, for instance, the golden ratio, 1.618, yada, yada, yada. That number is echoed all through nature. You know, everybody's seen the pine cone with the spiral and the sunflower with the spiral and how that relates to the golden ratio. We are physical beings, okay? What we do in life is going to reflect that number, okay? That is the truth of life, is balance. Now, if you know what the truth of life is, and if you understand what nature is trying to relay to you, you know that there is a subconscious longing in everybody out there for the truth. Everybody really wants to know the truth, depending on how distracted they are with what's going on in the man-made world. But at the core of everybody is a longing to know what the truth is of this place, okay? The people in charge of the world know this, okay? They know it, and they know that inherent in the fabric of nature is the code that's there, you know. Now, if you can see the code, and you can read the code, and you can understand that the code is all about balance, and coming out of the man-made thing that's unbalanced, where we've unbalanced the natural world now with the matrix overlay, if you can understand that, as those people do, they know that there's a longing in everybody to understand that stuff. And so if you feed people the truth, you know, if you dish it up to them, they will gobble it up like it was candy, you know, because there's something inside them that wants to, you know, to consume that. They want that thing. They want the truth. It's like eating candy. People want that thing, and they eat it and eat it and eat it. The body doesn't understand, doesn't read that correctly, though. You know, the body doesn't say, "Oh, you've had enough candy now. Stop eating candy." People get addicted to it. They want more and more and more because they cannot recognize. They don't understand what that means. Yeah, the body doesn't understand what excess candy means. It just wants to consume it, as does your subconscious body wants to consume truth. Until you understand what that truth is, you're not really going to go anywhere apart from keep consuming it. You'll just want to keep consuming truth. And this is what I'm saying. All this stuff is all the same idea. It all boils down to one thing on one side of the teeter-totter and one thing on the other side of the teeter-totter. And you have to become that little pivot point in the middle, balancing those two things. That's, you know, that's that's it in a nutshell. But until, you know, the people that run the world know this, they can keep dishing this stuff up. They can dish it up as obviously as they want. They can put the mistakes in there that are deliberate mistakes, if you like. They can do that. They know that stuff will sell. No? And what sells is you want to consume that stuff, you will exchange your time, your energy to get that. Yeah? If they put something that's truthful in some packaging, you will want to buy that thing. You know? So any time that they are selling you something, if the more truth at the surface that they can put there, the more truth that floats to the surface, the more CRM, the more cream that comes to that's at the surface for you to see, the more you want it. It's like the cream on top of the milk. People want the cream first. Yeah? That's the thing that people want. That's the thing that sells. Yeah? That thing that sells. And you know what they do? They package it in everything that you're addicted to as well. So everything the physical body's addicted to has this element of truth right at the surface of it. You know, the Pepsi logo, the yin and the yang. You know, I mean, it's all right there, wanting to be consumed, but people don't realize, they don't come to an understanding of it. I don't know the way to explain this correctly, but it's you know, it's almost like we're addicted, and the truth movement has become addicted to truth, But until you realize what it is, it's almost like become another addiction. Almost, I don't know. I don't know what the correct way to explain it is, but it's definitely the easiest way to sell a product to somebody. It's the easiest way to exchange their time, to take their time, you know. And that truth that you're exchanging there, they don't have to worry about hiding it. There's really no worry about hiding it because people just don't understand it. You can throw it at people all day long, and there's a lot of people in the truth community that are looking at this stuff, but they just don't understand it. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a bit flippant here, and maybe I'm being a bit disrespectful in a way. I'm not sure, but you know, if you don't understand what you're looking at, you're going to be going around in, well, I say go around in circles all day long. You know, the Ouroboros. You know, the snake eating his own tail all the time. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. There's a ton of information there. There's a bunch. Actually, there's some more stuff that I could go on about. But you know, this thing at the bottom here, you know, the 187. Something has to die. You know, and that's the Black Madonna. Yeah, the Black Pearl. The matrix system. That thing, that part of yourself that is that thing. You know, the ego that is attached. The part of the ego that is attached to the system. That's the thing that's got to be let go of, because that's the thing that causes all the problems. Yeah, that thing is a self-perpetuating problem because the ego consumes the matrix and the ego creates the matrix. You know, and that thing it's what it does. It just spirals out of control, and we're headed down to the depths right now. Okay, got to rise to the top like the cream. Anyway, leaving it there. You know, that's probably way too much waffle for people. Just interesting, these numbers, you know. I mean, just minus that off and look at that 255. That flips around. That 255 flips around and forms the 552 as well. Okay, if you just type it in a calculator, you'll see what I'm talking about. But instantly when I did that, I'm like, oh, I know what 255 is, because it's the 155 day jump from 213, which is again encoded in the dollar bill. It's that jump plus the previous 100-day jump from November the 5th to 213. And this all relates back to the good old chart of Lorraine that I came up with, and that's a video that I will try and do here. I might even try and do it here in a minute, but I don't really have time today. But I will try and do a video just covering, you know, that chart and how the different numbers relate to one another. So, but as soon as I seen that, I'm like, oh, that's interesting, you know, with the 254th day of the year being 9/11, and this coming out now through the codes in the dollar bill. Just super interesting. Anyway, hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you on the next video. All right, cheers, bye.